And happy Sunday. Welcome along to the Allen University Athletics Coaches Show. I am Jasher Cox. We've got a full slate of interviews for you today. Head football coach Teddy Keaton will talk about the completion of the 23 season. We'll talk about the men's and women's wrestling and some history being made last weekend in women's wrestling. And also have you hear from the head men's basketball coach, Sean Walker, who is in his first season as well. Let's take a quick break and we'll be back with more.
At Founders Federal Credit Union, we know success is a team effort. We're always cheering for you, side by side, so you can dream big and achieve your goals. Offering products and services that put you in the lead, whether that's helping you buy a car, build your savings, or supporting your community. We're here with the financial support you need. That's teamwork. Score big with Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax with Founders.
And welcome back in to our Allen University Athletics Coaches Show. We're joined by head football coach Teddy Keaton, whose team finished the season 7-3. Coach, we'll go back year to day. I know we don't like to talk about last season, especially when you always tell that to your players. We don't think about last season, but we got to look back because it was one heck of a turnaround going from 1-9 to 7-3. That's got to be gratifying.
It is, and we treat every season like it has a life and history of its own. No particular season has no bearings on what happens this season. What happened this season will have no particular bearings on what happens in 24. So we always talk about what are we going to do now, what's important now. And I think our kids, after they saw how close they were in games against great teams like Tuskegee, they played a Central State, usually big, good teams they played. And Clark Atlanta, they were there. Right there in those games, and they lost them by a touchdown or by a point on the last play. I think it just motivated them to go into the offseason and know that I think the Tuskegee game was really the one that they say, man, if you want to say the pinnacle of our conference was Tuskegee. So when they got an opportunity to go down and play them, and then they looked up and they was in a game and they was about to win it, they really believed that they could beat people.
Yeah, and so when you look back at that game in 2022, it's not the fact that it was a close game. It was what you had to overcome. 3 touchdowns are down, 17-21. I can't remember, but double-digit deficit early in the football game, and you're able to dig your way out of it.
Well, so what I told Kay is that spotting people 21 points, and we got to get over that 4 to 6 minutes, or where we have what I call self-inflicted wounds, where the team ain't beating you. Only person beating you is yourself. So it happened again this past weekend where that self-inflicted wound shows up, and that's something that we got to work out of our program.
Yeah, and so I know it happened again recently, but when you talk about what happened in 2022 and so many games coming down to the wire, and unfortunately they didn't go in your favor with the overwhelming majority of those guys coming back for 2023, it didn't serve any surprise for you to be able to have a record like you did this season, I'm sure.
No doubt. Because one thing about winners know how to win and losers know how to lose. And I asked them this question, do you want to be a loser or do you want a winner? I say losers always find a way to lose. Winners find a way to win, and we got to find a way to win. That's from the coaches, players, everybody in the organization. We need to dedicate ourselves. And the players need to figure out a way how they're going to create value for themselves. The coaches need to figure out how they're going to create value for the players. And all of us together need to figure out how we're going to create value for the organization.
Yeah. So let's recap Benedict. Of course, didn't go in your favor. particularly what went wrong and what went well for your unit against Benedict. A really good football team, back-to-back seasons now of being undefeated. the
running joke is the 4 to 6 minutes. You spot people 21 points, you turn it over, you fumble. And I've reminded them on numerous occasions, when you play against championship caliber teams, which if you look at all our losses, they were against championship caliber programs. You got to be able to overcome those mistakes and get out of your own way. Don't create opportunities for them, because they already know how to capitalize on your opportunities. Most of the games they win is because they beat people, because they didn't beat you. You beat them yourselves. So once we learn how to lose that 4 to 6 minutes, and how you do that is we incorporate it in practice. We create scenarios where you're in situations where we fumbled the ball and they got the ball there, and you can see a couple times our defense is now buying into that mantra, because they'll get a turnover and the team don't get in their feelings. They go back and the defense stands up and go back and get the ball back for us. Now the offense has to turn around and figure out how to play the next play and forget about the fact that I just threw an interception, and we drive the ball down and try to create an opportunity for us to gain points.
Right. So football season's over now. You put your administrative hat on, so to speak. You're helping us transition from NAIA to NCAA, and of course you were here from day one of that transition. But you were just talking while the cameras were off about how things have gotten a lot better. The energy is a lot better on campus. The program's a lot more competitive. You were talking with Coach Pack earlier. We've got some new coaches, men's and women's coaches. They're challenging people around here as well. It just seems to be different overall.
Well, that starts with you. Yeah. You challenged all of us when we got here. The first T-shirt you gave out was R2G. It said "Rise to Greatness," and I say it all the time. And then you added an award to the show of the coaches, where it was the Coach of the Year. And I ain't gonna lie, I was jealous. I mean, Coach Pack went out and beat Clemson, and I mean everybody else. And the day we get to the award banquet, and him and the volleyball coach was just getting all the accolades. And I'm telling my players, don't get upset. This is what winners get. They get the accolades. And I think you've created a culture of friendly competitiveness amongst each coach, amongst the kids, amongst the players. You're the first athletic director to come in the door and had a whole team meeting. And we don't get a lot of apparel around here, a lot of T-shirts or whatever. And then you came with a whole box of T-shirts. And I think the kids bought into you. You sold them the first day. And then they can see the little bitty things of what Coach Walker talked about. The cheese is moving. I read a book a long time ago, Who Moved My Cheese? And when the cheese move, you got to move. So as long as we can keep each team, and we talking about in the whole organization, moving the cheese, we'll always be great. And we want to be a team that's reckoned with. We want to be competitive in everything we do. And I think that's what's happening amongst the coaches, players, and everybody in this organization.
Well, Coach, I'm sitting here with a guy that I think is the SIAC's Coach of the Year, and yes, I'm biased, but I'm also logical too. So from 1-9 to 7-3, Coach, I want to congratulate you on your successful season. Of course, we wish you well in the recruiting season as well.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
We'll be back with more.
Good. 16 and 80 years to go from 1 win to at least 6.
At Founders Federal Credit Union, we know success is a team effort. We're always cheering for you, side by side, so you can dream big and achieve your goals. Offering products and services that put you in the lead, whether that's helping you buy a car, build your savings, or supporting your community. We're here with the financial support you need. That's teamwork. Score big with Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax with Founders.
Inside the Rooms to Go room in Chappelle Auditorium on the historic campus of Allen University, now joined by head men's and women's wrestling coach Eric Pack. Coach, the inaugural season got underway. I have to talk about the ladies first, and so we had some history being made this past weekend. You got to be happy with their debut.
Yes, I'm very happy, especially with the wins that we had, just overall the history being made. Just actually just starting out, I think that morning when we came in, I just told them who the rest of the first match. I kind of pointed out who's the first girl that actually wrestle for us and kind of pointing out who's going to be the first one to make a win for us. And they were kind of jazzed. I saw the competition among them, like who's going to get the first win for us. And obviously they start talking about the first pin also.
Yeah, several months ago, you brought the idea to me. He's like, hey, we need to really add women's wrestling. You know, you try to twist the president's arm. You know, went across the street and no hesitation, he said yes. And so I'm thinking, yeah, we'll get it underway in the fall of 2024. Yeah. And he's like, no, 23.
Yeah.
And so you were able to turn it over pretty fast. You got to be happy, though, however, to be able to recruit the young ladies you're able to do that fast and then throw a team out there on them.
Yes, and I kind of started the recruiting game kind of late and kind of got some talent on that. I had to kind of talk to some other young ladies that wanted to come here, and they actually got sold on Allen itself. They saw the school, the HBCU, and that first selling them on being making history was really big for them. So a lot of them was like, yeah, coach, I really want to come here. I want to make history not only for myself, but also for the school and the program. So that was huge. And in that short period of time, the talent that I have is fantastic. And I've noticed like having them is starting to bring more girls that want to come here and kind of add to what we have here already.
Yeah, you know, so it's important people to know, you know, the HBCU acronym stands for Historically Black College and University. So we're historically black, not exclusively black. Correct. And your roster is extremely diverse. Talk about some of the young ladies and how you're able to find them.
I found Jillian Lackey, who actually plays first. She is from Greer, South Carolina. She's a two-time state champ. She actually, I got her on a whim. Some coach called me and said, look, you need to look at this girl, Jillian Lackey from Greer. I called her. She came for a visit, and she was in love with the campus. I got Tamisha from South Florence, and she's fantastic. Same thing. Coaches I knew were like, hey, coach, I got this girl. She's really interested in wrestling. She want to come and wrestle for you. And that's the majority of them. I got Stephanie Gonzalez. Same thing. She actually reached out to me. Her coach called me, got film, saw her wrestle, and was very impressed by her and thought she could come in and really help us.
Yeah, you know, and most people, we think the wrong thing when we think wrestling. We think about some of the stuff that we see on TV.
Yeah.
Right. So, but when you look at a young lady like Jillian, not very big, but what stands out about her and why is she so good and effective at what she does?
First off, her dad coached her. She wrestled in South Carolina, girls wrestling, just kind of getting sanctioned for it. So she was on a team with all guys. And she won matches against guys. She qualified for the state tournament in the guys division, and they kind of pioneered that they want to separate it. And so all her life, her wrestling has been around guys, and her technique and everything kind of has been built around that. So she has that tough mentality. I think I weigh 109, I'm 101, 106 pounder, and I'm wrestling guys out here and winning. And just getting that, and I saw her doing that, and I knew that she could be successful at this area once she got into just wrestling just girls.
I want to know with the two units, men and women, how they mesh together. You know, most people think it's big brother, little sister, but I'm starting to see big sister, little brother at times in some of these environments.
Yes, and
they're pretty bossy now.
Yes, and they work well together. The girls are very, I'll say this from a technique standpoint, they're very meticulous in how they want to get their technique down. But yes, they're you're right, AD. They're most like the big sister, little brother type of situation. And when funny things, when girls were wrestling, they actually had a watch party because they were able to stream it and watch them and were cheering for them as they were winning. So it was pretty good. They really meshed well together. They kind of pull for one another. Sometimes based on our practices, sometimes the girls are practicing and the guys are waiting for them to get on the mat. And they're being encouraging, and it's that mentality that we have from the guys' success last year. They're trying to breed that to them. And just the culture that we have built and kind of have here with not only just wrestling, but all of our athletics.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, dual meets, you know, we'd have to clone you for you to be able to coach two units. So you've got some help on the women's side. Talk about that.
I have Coach Donnell Bradley. Herself, she's a pioneer in the sport. So she wrestled when there was not many girl wrestling teams, and she had to do the same thing, almost Jillian. She wrestled a lot of guys and kind of went that route. So female wrestling kind of went in reverse. Most of the times you would start a program from youth, high school, college, and up. And actually started with like Olympics and worked its way down. So a lot of the ladies that are wrestling in the Olympics actually were part of high school men's teams, and they kind of sanctioned Olympic wrestling. And I think she was talking with the girls the other day, said that when she wrestled, there were 6 weight classes, now there's 10.
Yeah, so we're going to switch now to the men's side, and you've got a lot of experience coming back, a lot of guys at place, All-Americans coming back. Right. Your expectations for them?
This year we're moving into, we have some play in the Carolina Conference, so our expectations is to be in the top 4 teams and make that playoff. And also we want to place in some more tournaments and kind of like have another winning season. A lot of the guys, I'll say, we added some pieces to our lineup. We've got Alex Doche, we've got Eric Kane, we've got a bunch of guys that come in that kind of help us get better, kind of push that envelope for us to continue to have the success that we have.
Your most decorated wrestler, arguably, with Michael Jackson on the side. I talked to him in the hallway, with the match against the Citadel. Didn't necessarily go his way, but he emphatically stated that we need to play competition like that in order to get better and prepare for Conference Carolina.
And actually, AD, we have. It's good for us to wrestle Division I opponents because they kind of, when we get down, I call it, own our Division II. We can know how to breed that success in what we need to do when we're out there wrestling. That was actually our first time wrestling Division I competition, and I think it didn't go as well, but we came back with something that's going to make us better as a team. And I think that we got back that next day, we all sat down and talked about it, and it just lit a new fire on us for the remainder of the season.
So let's talk about your first home match that's coming for both teams, because again, I want this thing to be packed out. I want it to be just super loud, people on their feet, making noise the entire time. Let's talk about your first home match coming to Adams Gym.
It's going to be against Lincoln Memorial on the 29th. That's going to be a nice little rivalry. We also have St. Andrews, which is a rivalry that kind of started. They have not beaten us since I've been the head coach against St. Andrews. So they come in, they bring their A game with us. And Lincoln Memorial is a program that's up and coming. It's going to be a tough match. So we beat them the past 2 times. So once again, 2 teams we're wrestling against that they have not beaten us as a program.
Yeah, and so if you want to see what's on the schedule, go to auyellowjackets.com and click on the links for men's and women's wrestling. Coach, we appreciate your time. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll be back with more.
At Founders Federal Credit Union, we know success is a team effort. We're always cheering for you, side by side, so you can dream big and achieve your goals. Offering products and services that put you in the lead, whether that's helping you buy a car, build your savings, or supporting your community. We're here with the financial support you need. That's teamwork. Score big with Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax with Founders.
He's in his first year as the head men's basketball coach here at Allen University. Sean Walker, you got here April 13th. I know it's been a whirlwind since that time, but you're gearing up for your opening competition when you open the season in Tampa, Florida. Let's talk about that schedule and how things have gone so far for you.
Well, April 13th was an exciting day for me, an exciting day, I hope, for Allen University and the young men that are in that locker room. It's been an awesome opportunity so far. And now, as you said, we're moving forward to November 10 and University of Tampa and Eckerd and down in Florida in the crossover with the conference crossover. And it's definitely going to be a challenging weekend. It's going to be a very 2 tough games, and I would basically have it no other way moving into kind of starting a new program.
Well, Coach, we've known each other for a while, and I've known you from your time, the SWAC days back at Grambling, and you've been a handful of other places since that time. For those that aren't familiar with you, talk about your career path and your career head coaching journey.
Yeah, I became a head coach in 1997 at 25 years old, down the street at Voorhees College in Denmark, South Carolina. And it's unique. I've had a lot of great experiences. I've had experience at every level of college basketball as a head coach, and my first job, as I said, was at Voorhees, and I left Voorhees, went back to my alma mater, Elizabeth City State, as the head women's coach for 1 year, and then I served as the men's coach there for 12 years before I went to Grambling, Division I. Stayed at Grambling 3 years, went back to Elizabeth City State for 3 seasons, and found my way at Shaw University as the assistant women's coach there, and now here at Allen. So I feel like I'm extremely experienced, extremely poised for all aspects of college basketball and athletic programs, and I'm very happy to be here at Allen.
Got to be excited about the league too. There's a lot of parity within the SIAC. There's been some stiff competition, and rarely do you see teams get steamrolled in conference play, but talk about what you've observed from the league just from afar and what you see. I know your season hadn't gotten underway, but tell us what you know about the SIAC.
Well, this is an extremely athletic league. There are a lot of athletes in this league. The league plays very fast. There's phenomenal coaching in the league. There's a lot of games in this league in the 90s, 80s, 90s, or 100s. So that speaks to the pace of the game that we would expect to see. It's going to be very interesting because I do believe that this is a top-heavy league. I believe that there are 4 or 5 great teams in the league, and I believe it's balanced, coming towards the middle and the bottom. As I look at the scores from a year ago, not many of the teams from the middle or the bottom beat the teams at the top. Hopefully we can try to balance it out a little bit more from our standpoint relative to where we're trying to go and get off the bottom.
I've been able to peek my head in your practices, and the one thing that stood out from day one is that there's a lot of teaching going on. You don't allow guys to move any further in your practice or go along if you don't feel as if they're grasping the concepts. Talk about your rationale behind that.
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that you have to do is teach kids how to play. I mean, obviously, I want to teach them how to work and the discipline that comes along with winning. And winning is a byproduct of all the things that happened prior to that. And so sometimes my assistant coach said, well, coach, let us work through it. Now we have to learn what we're supposed to do before we start freelancing. And so our practice is a lot of teaching. There's a lot of what did I say? What is your rule? What are you supposed to do? I need, that we know that if we train the mind, the body should follow. All right. So we shouldn't train the body and have nothing in our minds. And so a lot of times I will find my teams are much better coming. We're the most dangerous team in January and February because we now have figured out and have seen enough videotape. We've heard enough. We've been able to apply what the rules and regulations are, and now we're ready to go in. And so I believe that's going to be the case. It's really got to be the case this year with all these new bodies. These are guys, none of them have played for me before. None of them have been at Allen before for the most part. Either returning guys that are coming back are getting readjusted to this new Allen, to this cheese moving. And so it's exciting to embark upon that. I said to my assistant coach yesterday, I'm sitting in the office and complaining, and I said, coaching is like cutting grass. All right, you look on one side, your lawnmower just ran out of gas, you got all this grass on the other side to cut. You feel like you haven't done anything, and you lose sight of the 15 strips that you did cut, and you can see how pretty that looks, but you got a long ways to go. And so this is where we are at this point. We have a long way, we got a lot of grass to cut, but we're moving, and we'll eventually get it all cut and y'all look pretty.
So I want to make sure you didn't major in philosophy when you went to. That's pretty good. Now.
Yeah. Well, this is I say to my coaching buddies all the time. You're coaching when you're using metaphors, right? A lot of the times our players don't understand. Get to the help line. You have to say to them, all right, you went to the club or you went to the party with your friend.
Right.
He's stuck in the corner. 2 guys get ready to beat him up. You gonna leave him?
Right.
Or you gonna help? They understand that.
Got it.
They
now.
don't understand.
Right.
Get to the nail and the spit.
Help my guy out now.
That's it.
I like it, Coach. You got a chance to see a previous evening. Women's volleyball host rival Benedict, and I think you probably caught a hint of what that environment, what that gymnasium can look like for a basketball game. You had to be excited to see that, and force with the ladies pulling out the victory too.
No question. Well, first off, I would say that the coaching staff here is very connected, which is a byproduct of success. So I was very happy for Coach Robinson, and I know that was something that we all wanted to see with the rival game. What's exciting is we know that people show up when you win. That's right. All right. When you win, it doesn't have to be Benedict. It can be the Little Sisters of the Poor in the gym. It can be filled. So I am excited about what John Hurst gym can look like, Adams gym can look like throughout the course of the year. I'm excited to think that people want to see this product that we're planning to put on the floor, and I'm excited to think that our players are committed to the excellence that is going to promote people coming to watch us play. Right. And so, keeping that in mind, that's an exciting time. I mean, game's over, people are on the floor. We just won a national championship, man. Right. We just won a national championship, and I don't know how long it's been since something like that has transpired. But that is the front porch, right? What football has done is a front porch. What soccer has done is a front porch, and beating Division I teams. what volleyball has done, even if nothing else but beating Benedict, is a front porch action. So we know if you walk to someone's house and walk up and the front porch is dirty, you don't walk in the house. Right? You don't go in there and eat because it's not aesthetically pleasing. So right now we have some aesthetics going on around here that's pleasing, and I'm looking forward to our first opportunity to play in front of the Allen Nation.
Talk a little bit about your schedule here, and this will be my last question. We're definitely not going to skip over the entire month of November, but the most important trip potentially for my wife is you're going to St. Thomas Virgin Islands this year. How did you stumble upon that contest? And you got to be excited for the guys to hop on a plane and enjoy an endeavor as such.
But one of the things initially I talked to our players about, the returning players, was what can we do to increase your student athlete experience? Because listen, our student athlete experience is going to be the determination of how we increase enrollment here. It's going to be the determination of what the young people in the program now and across this campus, what they think about their situation, their experience at Allen, is going to 20 years from now and 30 years, get them to send other students back. All right. This idea of the Virgin Islands, I went my last year at Elizabeth City, I believe. We won that tournament over there, and it was in its inaugural year. And I'm talking about a great experience. You know, we're going to have student athletes that have never been on an airplane. Yeah. All right, we're going to have student athletes that's never. Virgin Islands is in the country, but in theory, it's international trip. We stumbled across. There's a great promoter that's doing historically black college and university things over on the island. This is a phenomenal experience for our young people. Also get a chance to play against some quality teams that all kind of have historically black college and university ties. So it's great. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Obviously, we're going to win. It's going to be a vacation for you and your wife, and she'll be able to sit on the sideline. But we got to go over there and try to get us a win or two or three, and so I think that's remarkable for our young people, and they're excited. And I'm saying to them every day, we are going to have some fun, but winning is fun.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we're excited to have you here, and of course, we wish you well this season. And as always, we'll see you next week.
Fantastic. Look forward to it.
We'll take a break, and we'll be back with more.
There's a hidden gem in downtown Columbia, South Carolina. Are you ready to witness the epitome of grit and passion? Well, welcome to Allen University Athletics. From dazzling plays on the basketball court to the electrifying crowd, we've got tradition and we've got pageantry. Fueled by determination and unwavering spirit, coaches will push everyone's limits, game after game. At Allen University, we believe in the power of unity, teamwork, and resilience. Together, we rise. Be a part of the legacy and experience the thrill of Allen University Athletics. For more information, visit our athletics website at auyellowjackets.com.
Final segment of the Allen University Athletics Coaches Show. I want to remind you that season tickets are still on sale, and individual game tickets for men's and women's basketball. You can purchase them by visiting www.auyellowjackets.com, clicking on the tickets link, and making your purchase from there. My time is up. Thank you for yours.